Hello, Cancer Sun and Rising. Welcome to your May 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Ooh boy, here we go. I'm recording this in early April, April 6th. I always want to emphasize to be exact. But boy, oh boy. I can't believe I'm already doing May. It just goes to show how quickly time has been going by, at least for me. I don't know about you. But in any case, May is a month. The great thing about May is that the Mercury retrograde of April has come and gone. And this, for you, has been in your 10th house of career, so a very important area. We are done with the eclipses. So we had the eclipse in March and the eclipse in April, and both in cardinal signs. So they did affect the one in, I'm recording this before the one in Aries, which is the 10th house for you, the solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th. And the one in March was in Libra, and that is the house that you ruled, the 4th house of home and family. So these are, I was going to say, well, they're cardinal signs, but these are angular houses. So the impact of that on your life can be so much more than a typical situation, transit, or even eclipse. If you have like a solar eclipse in your 9th house, it could be great for your philosophical way of looking at life, and maybe it opens new avenues for you, or maybe you go somewhere far away. But in terms of major impacts, the angular houses are really where it's at, and this is really affecting you. And both of these eclipses square you off, whether you're a sun or rising. We have to also acknowledge that it depends on your degree of sun or rising, but it can create tension, but that tension can create great growth. So it can be a very eventful period for you, but in May, things kind of like settle down. And after Pluto goes retrograde on the 2nd, there are no retrogrades to speak of. And Pluto is an outer planet anyway. So it still can be a time where you take action and do things and have that green light of all the personal planets being direct. So I'm going to start with Mars going into Aries on the 30th of April, because it is the last day of April, and it will be very much in play in May. So when Mars goes into Aries on April 30th, this is going to be in your 10th house of career. So here you have had a lot of activation of that 10th house. And because of that, because of the solar eclipse, and also, by the way, Chiron was part of that eclipse, or in my case, I should say, is going to be part of that eclipse. And Chiron is going to be in conjunction, so it'll be in alignment with that eclipse, and that can have a very healing effect. And why that is so important is that Chiron in the 10th can be the father wound. And the father wound, yes, we can talk about literally if you had some kind of thing with your father, you can feel this sense of healing and a new direction. Maybe you never had a relationship with your father, and now you will. But even if you never talked to the man, you can still have a revelation. Something can come about that allows you to not feel that sense of resentment and to really move forward. But in addition to that, this is about your place in the world. So, I often talk about, people, I read a lot of comments where people, talk about children of celebrities, and they're acting like, oh yeah, they really have a lot of problems being born wealthy and all this stuff. And it's like, are you kidding me? If you ever have read a tabloid, those things can be true in tabloids. And there are a lot of children of celebrities who suffer greatly because they're living in the shadow of a famous parent. And, when you're trying to make your mark on the world, the 10th house really represents that, whether you're talking about your natal placements or the transits that are occurring there. And it can, having a particular, like if you have a relationship with an authoritarian type of a parent who tries to shove down your throat a certain type of career path for you to go on. And sometimes, a Cancer person may feel like they have to do that because they honor the family. They're water, so they're very receptive to other people. They might be impressionable to that. You may fall into that trap and then later resent it. And this could be that kind of healing where you realize, okay, I have, sovereignty. I can change just because I don't have to fear this parent no longer approving of me. I can be my own, I can be the captain of my ship, is basically how I would put it. So Mars and Aries in general can be this. It's kind of like that very confident and stepping into your power type of an energy, although because it's in its own sign, it can be rather bossy and overdoing it when it comes to that kind of it can be aggressive rather than assertive. And in the 10th house, yeah, I mean, you might still have authority figures that you're dealing with if you work for somebody else, for instance. And you have to be careful about not stepping on their toes because you might be, rearing to go and wanting to achieve something in particular and, butting heads with people in authority. So just keep that in mind. But this can be a very productive time career-wise. On the 2nd, Pluto does go retrograde at 2 degrees of Aquarius. And this is occurring for you in your 8th house. And this is interesting because Pluto is one of the rulers of the 8th house, along with Mars, and it rules the sign of Scorpio. This is Scorpio's domain in astrology. And Pluto can be about transformation. So Cancer people have had Pluto in their 7th house for 15 years. And some Cancer people, I know somebody in particular, but I'm sure there are some of you out there who have gotten divorced in that time. And one of the reasons why this is, first of all, Pluto can create power struggles within that relationship, but also it can be about transforming your idea of marriage. So now that we have Pluto in the 8th house, this is a house of intimacy, be it, yes, it can be sexual intimacy, but also emotional intimacy, as well as financial intimacy, meaning sharing resources. That's, I was going to say, that might be even more than sexual or emotional intimacy. That might be Cancer's, that might be a sore subject for Cancer because you might be, I think of Cancer people as very financially conservative, and sharing resources with people might be your greatest act of faith, because if you are dealing with somebody who you see as reckless, and it doesn't take much for you to see somebody as reckless, that can really sever the relationship. And maybe that's how some of you actually ended a marriage, is because somebody was, not mindful of their finances or your shared resources, and you feel that was the ultimate in disrespect. So, when Pluto goes retrograde, it is asking you to go within. And in this case, it doesn't get more within than this, because this is the house of shadow work. So I wouldn't be surprised if some cancers even go into therapy, because I consider therapy to be one of the premier forms of shadow work, if it's done with a therapist who is actually interested in um, transformation by their client, not just gobbledygook, but actually wanting to kind of dig deeply into the past, and empower the person to see how they can change things, not based on other people's behavior. So that may be something that you will do in one form or the other. I mean, it could even be just, your own soul searching, as far as looking at how you play, looking at your attitude towards intimacy, because I would say, in my estimation, Scorpios have a reputation for being secretive, and then I read that I read somewhere that Pisces are secretive emotionally, and now I'm thinking, hey, they're all secretive, all the water signs, and the reason is because you are emotional, and you don't always want to bring that out. You're sometimes you just want to, I want to say you just want to forget about what has happened if there are traumatic experiences, but you also don't want to necessarily share them with others, because it may feel like it is making it larger and larger and creating more of a reality with it. So this can be a time of great self-empowerment, where you're not blaming others or looking outside of yourself, as far as whatever has been occurring in your life on an emotional level, but seeing where you play a role. Because even if somebody is abusive, we're part of that dance, and it's not, in our simplistic society we say, oh, you're blaming the victim, but there is a saying, I don't know who came up with the saying, that says there are no victims, only volunteers. We don't have to take that in a literal sense, but that's almost like a metaphysical thing, like that we kind of like plan out some important events in our life, even the difficult ones, choose our parents, even if they are difficult parents. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's kind of what the Pluto retrograde means for me when it's in the 8th house. On the 7th, there's a new moon at 18 degrees of Taurus, and this is a harmonious angle to you because it is a sextile. And it is coming from the 11th house. Did I say that? Or I just said Taurus. It's coming from the 11th house, a new moon. The 11th house is the house of friendships and groups, but also the house of gains. Now, you are experiencing, if you're listening to this before April 20th, there's going to be a Jupiter alignment with the planet Uranus. Both of them are in Taurus, and that is going to fall in this house as well. So that can, be very helpful, because this is the house of gains, the house of the money that you're earning from your career or your business. And a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, suffice it to say, could be a welcome, unexpected surprise in this regard. Jupiter is one of those planets, along with Venus, that can specifically be about money. And when we talk about the new moon here, we're talking about new beginnings. So that may have had its origin in April because Jupiter is, was aligned with that, and Jupiter is still going to be fairly close to Uranus. I don't have that in front of me, but I think it will still be, within the range that could be good for expansion and the surprises of Uranus. And even on their own, they can do those things. But also in terms of expanding your social network, and with Uranus, there could be some really kind of far out subjects that are bringing you together with other people. Uranian energy is galactic energy. For those of you who are um, into metaphysical studies, you may have heard of the Urantia book. I bought that book. It's like very obtuse for me, but because it's called Urantia, I assume it's connected to Uranus, but I don't know. It is a massive book. It's got to be like 1,500 pages or something. But anyway, you may see yourself having new opportunities to connect with others, and I see Cancer as that type of person who likes to do things like that, especially because you're adjacent to the sign of Gemini. You may have inner planets in Gemini as a sun in Cancer, and therefore you like that variety, the communication that you have when you're socializing. On the 15th, Mercury goes into Taurus, so Mercury goes into this sector and can really make you communicating socially, and maybe even being the organizer of social events in your life, calling up friends, whatnot. The 20th, the sun goes into Gemini, the sign that is right before you. So this is the hibernation period before your solar return, which is occurring on the summer solstice or winter down under. You may find yourself more retiring, gravitating towards solitude, maybe even physically more inclined to rest and to be less physically active. On the 23rd, we have a full moon at 2 degrees 55 minutes of Sagittarius, basically 3 degrees, and that can be, and that is going to occur in your 6th house of work and also health. So full moons can bring information. Perhaps there's something connected to your health that you become aware of. This is a time when people might do some kind of purification, full moons can be a time when people do that, detox, things like that. You might be learning something that is, connected to the workplace, to your coworkers. A secret can come out there, or you might be ending some employment. Some of you may be doing contract work, not because of anything astrologically, just because that's how some people work, and maybe this is the end of your contract, who knows. But on the same day, Venus is going into Gemini. So Venus will be in that opposite sign and opposite house. And I believe that would make the full moon opposing Venus that way, which is interesting because that'll be the 12th house where Venus will enter. And the 12th house is the spiritual place. And Venus, this could be something connected to maybe if you this is interesting too. I know this might be a long shot, but if you are having some kind of secret love affair, maybe in the workplace, um, because the moon is in there, something gets discovered because you're trying, for some people, this can be a clandestine type of situation when Venus is in the 12th house. Regardless, I'm just saying because the moon is in the 6th, is it shining a light on that? Is there some kind of intrigue that is going on at that time? And actually, the sun will be in the 12th because the sun is always opposing the moon at the time of a full moon. So the sun will be at around 3 degrees of Gemini in the 12th house on the 23rd. But we're talking about, right, yeah, on the same day, Venus goes to 0 degrees of Gemini. So yeah, I think it will be within orb. And this could be something that also, I would say too, if you are secretly doing any kind of artistic project and, in your mundane, earthly 6th house, maybe you're ending work, ending some kind of work that you've done that perhaps hasn't really resonated with you, and now you're going to go after your lifelong dream. Maybe it's even a karmic situation. In the 12th, it could be karmic, but something that you've carried over from past lives. On the 25th, Jupiter goes into Gemini, so Jupiter is going to enter your 12th house. That's another thing, too. I think I've already kind of elaborated on that, but Jupiter in the 11th house really expands your social network. In the 12th house, it emphasizes your spiritual life, and that can be something that is quite the blessing for you, that you're blessed by when you are engaged in that, and that you're lucky with that, but also that it makes you positive. Jupiter can be very cheerful. That's why Jove is Jupiter, and the word jovial. So I'm going to do a separate video about all of the signs in the Jupiter transit coming up shortly. So I'm not going to talk too much more about that, but I just wanted to point that out. And I hope that you have a really great month, Cancer. And if you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my package deal, my deep dive reading, because it not only involves an hour-long analysis of your natal chart, but also an hour-long transit reading for the next 12 months and looking at what are the astrological themes. I give dates, but I like to also have people look at the bigger picture, being a Sag Sun myself. If you'd like more information on that or my other readings, please click on the link below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.